Hello, everyone. I'm Dylan with Techstars. I'm here with Julie Saltman, the founder and CEO of Stand.io. Julie, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit more? Give us a background on who you are, your experiences, and your company and what you're doing.
Sure. Thanks, Dylan. I'm Julie Saltman. I'm the CEO of Stand, and I started this company after my career as a lawyer. I was a civil litigator with the Justice Department, where I handled a lot of really high-profile cases in the Obama administration. But I was really frustrated by the fact that I spent most of my day just sort of searching for information, and it felt like a tech problem that could be solved. So ultimately, I ended up starting my company, and we are an AI-powered search and analysis platform for lawyers.
That's amazing. And I think extremely relevant at the current point in time. We're sort of in this AI boom, if you want to call it, all of these new products and services coming out related to AI. So before we dive too deep into your company, do you want to talk about what it's been like just in the past sort of few weeks or month, just organizing around the fact that ChatGPT and OpenAI has sort of taken over the world?
Absolutely. It was actually very great. It worked out really well for us, sort of the recent explosion. We'd been looking at large language models, but for a long time, they were prohibitively expensive for a lean early stage startup like us until December, when OpenAI changed their pricing model and made it more cost effective for a startup to integrate with OpenAI. So that happens like right before the holidays. So we had all planned to take time off over the holidays, and instead we decided to work straight through, build our integration, and then we launched like right shortly after New Year's with that integration. And it's been great. It's allowed us to do some really cool new things. We've actually got a public facing version. Our product it's B2B SaaS. It's for teams to use internally on their internal data, but we built something called SCOTUS AI. So it's instead of being trained on lawyers' documents, it's trained on every Supreme Court decision ever issued. So you can essentially go to scotus.stand with 2ds.io and ask it questions, and you get an answer from the Supreme Court.
That's so cool. It's really amazing just the capabilities that we're seeing with some of these products. Let's dive a little bit more into Stand then now. What sort of products are you offering and what problems are you solving for the people that are using your products?
Yeah, our product it's a web-based platform. It integrates with whatever system that a law firm uses to store their internal documents. Because lawyers, they write a lot, as you probably could imagine, but we're especially focused on litigators. That's the kind of lawyer I was, where you go into court, you negotiate, you give arguments, you do depositions. There's so much research and so much documentation that goes into everything you do. And it's really hard to find what you need because the current systems that lawyers use to store information they're siloed, they're clunky, they're not super fast. But putting that aside, the bigger problem is that when you search for information, you get lists of Word documents that you then have to read through, and it's really time consuming. Like it's estimated that the average lawyer loses a third of their day, and that's of non-billable time, just to searching for that perfect paragraph you wrote 3 years ago that you need to use in your case now, and you just cannot remember what case it was in. It happens daily for lawyers that they're just looking for a little snippet of information and it's impossible to find. So our system uses AI and large language models to find exactly that snippet that you're thinking of based on whatever natural language query makes sense to you to try to find it. And we also provide summaries and contextual information so that research can be effective and fast.
So what's it been like so far? How's your company sort of tackled, finding customers, growing out your team, stuff like that?
We've done a lot over the course of Techstars. We're like 2.5 weeks from demo day, and it's actually kind of amazing to think how much progress we've made just over the last 12 weeks since we've been in the program. But when I really look back to Founder Catalyst at this time last year, which was shortly before I think I applied to Founder Catalyst, I was a solo founder. I didn't have a product. I had an idea and I really felt strongly that I could do something with it, but didn't know at all what I was doing. And now a year later, I've got a team. I have 2 co-founders. We have a product that we just launched. We launched last week. We've got, I think we're up to like 150 or so new leads. We've got 8 law firms who are our ICPs on the waitlist for our product. And we've got several demos scheduled next week that we're hoping will convert to our first customers.
That's amazing. So yeah, let's backtrack a little bit and bring me through your founder journey. You mentioned Founder Catalyst. You mentioned that you're now in a program with Techstars, a full accelerator program. So take me through the whole experience. What made you want to apply to Founder Catalyst? What made you then go from Founder Catalyst to an accelerator program?
Yeah, definitely. It's hard to think back to that time because it feels like it was so long ago. So much has happened. Like I said, I was a solo founder at the time. I had an idea. I needed to get it built. I was working with contract developers to get an MVP built, but I don't really think that I had the right direction in terms of how to build the MVP. I was just going based on my ideas and my conversations with lawyers. I randomly saw that Founder Catalyst, I didn't even know about Founder Catalyst. I think DC, which is the one I participated in, was the second Founder Catalyst ever. So I hadn't actually heard of the program. And I read about it and I thought, this sounds too good to be true. Techstars and JP Morgan, and it's all women. It's in DC. Like, I can't believe this is real, but I'm going to apply to it and see what happens. And yeah, I was very excited to be accepted. And right off the bat, it was super, super valuable. Like, I think one of the biggest things that I loved about it, and that's continued to be super valuable, is being part of this group of 20 other amazing women who have founded companies in DC, doing all sorts of incredible things. And they're all super inspiring. I think 6 or 7 of us now have gotten into a Techstars program from Founder Catalyst. And so I feel like we've really solidified this network, grown it, and we've all been resources for each other in many different ways. That's been amazing. And I think, being a founder can be pretty lonely, especially if you're a solo founder. And it can feel like, especially in DC, where there's not as much of a culture of entrepreneurship as there is in like Silicon Valley. A lot of my friends who work in like steady government jobs were, what are you doing again? I don't really understand. What's this company? So it was cool to meet other women who were the same kind of crazy and started a company, and we could sort of commiserate and support each other in that way. And then also to have through that program, the learnings that we could get from the Techstars network. I think my pitch improved drastically, like significantly over the course of the program. I was used to, I'm used to public speaking. I've done a lot of legal arguments, but pitching is very different. I learned a ton. I think my first pitch practice to final pitch was a pretty pronounced improvement. And so that was great. And that's such a valuable skill that I've used in subsequent accelerators and opportunities and pitch events, and just learning kind of the nuts and bolts of getting the company off the ground. At the time, I was thinking about bringing on co-founders, and I think working with my mentors through Founder Catalyst, I was Cheryl Calland, who was our entrepreneur in residence, and he was wonderful. It was just so helpful to have people to talk to who'd been through it, who'd made these decisions, who'd made some mistakes along the way, and who could share that knowledge with us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've heard, Founder Catalyst just in general is such a great platform for those early stage founders who have the idea, but haven't necessarily found, product market fit, or even just like a product at that point. Like you could have an idea and participate in a Founder Catalyst program. So it's really great to hear that all the resources that were provided through that program were so helpful. But I do want to hear, how did Founder Catalyst prepare you for, we'll call it the real thing, the big show, the actual accelerator program?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think definitely the pitching was a huge part of it, because the interview process for Techstars is multiple pitches, some shorter, some longer. You have to be ready to field questions. And I really got great practice doing that at Founder Catalyst. I actually think my company has participated in a couple different accelerators at this point, and Founder Catalyst, I think, was the best pitch preparation of any of them, because it was just every single week we did the pitch, the whole group gave feedback. So it wasn't just one pitching coach, it was like 20 other brilliant entrepreneurs, all of the amazing women who run the program gave us feedback. That was so valuable. And I feel like it just really set me up well for the interview process. It just really helped get the groundwork laid so that we were in a good position to apply to Techstars. And to be honest, I think we're earlier stage than some of the other companies in our cohort. And I think we were able to get in when we didn't even have a product that had been launched yet, because the fundamentals of our business were strong, because I had learned at Founder Catalyst, these are the important things you need to work on and you need to get in place. And once those are in place, the product will come. And I learned that inside of at an early stage company, you pivot a lot, you iterate a lot. don't get so focused on the product that you neglect really important aspects of your business, like business strategy and go to market, and having a really strong core team and setting out a culture among your team that will allow you to scale and be a workplace that's empowering and inclusive. All of those values I learned at Founder Catalyst and I implemented with my company. And I think the results show in the great strides we've made since then.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like Founder Catalyst in a way is almost sort of like a natural progression into a program where it's like Techstars is essentially giving you all of the resources to capitalize on, then work toward a program. So it's almost like we're molding you to be a Techstars Accelerator program portfolio company from that point. And it's interesting, we just how to make an application stand out. Crowdcast live virtual event earlier in the week or last week, and it was super successful. But it's almost like you need to have that inside Techstars scoop to know what it is they're looking for. And it's nothing crazy, but some people just don't necessarily know because they haven't had experience with the Techstars programs before. So being in Founder Catalyst, it absolutely sets you up for success. So that's amazing. I know that you're in program right now. You want to tell me what program you're in? And you said demo days coming up, but tell me up to this point, what has been the most valuable takeaway from the program that is separate from Founder Catalyst, let's say?
Good question. We are currently in Techstars Seattle, which was really like a perfect program for us because Seattle is kind of like it's like the epicenter of B2B SaaS. And that's obviously what we do. There's a lot of legal tech that's come out of Seattle. Microsoft is here, which is what most of our customers use. So this was strategically a really great opportunity for us. And like you said, Founder Catalyst really set us up to get in, to have the confidence to apply and to get in. And in terms of what I think the best thing I've gotten out of this program, it's like, I feel like I could go on for the entire interview about that. I will say the mentorship, the network has been amazing. I think they do a really good job of promoting us to the brilliant people in the network here in Seattle and in the broader Techstars network, and helping us find people who can really fill gaps in our team, who can help us make better decisions and help us work through challenges. And I think they've really set up a culture where you can be vulnerable with your mentors. It's okay to admit that you don't know something or that you might be struggling with a challenge on the business side or the product side. I think it's so valuable that Techstars takes that approach, and it really allows you to make great progress by working with these incredible people who are just so eager to give their time to companies like ours because we're affiliated with Techstars.
Yeah, I mean, the mentors are there to help, they're not there to judge you or tell you you're doing things wrong. They're there to help you figure out the problems that you're in the accelerator program for. So I'm really happy to hear that you've had such a positive experience with the mentors. Do you want to tell me a little bit more about just, I guess, like the entire community of Techstars, like what it's like working with the other founders in the program, the mentors you mentioned already, but I guess maybe some of the exposure that you've had to people outside of the program just simply because of your persistence in the program?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I think the whole network has been amazing. There have been people I've cold reached out to on LinkedIn who are in Chicago or San Francisco, cities I have no connection to, but they're in the Techstars network and they'll take my call, they'll set up a meeting with me. And it's been really helpful to be able to leverage that. And it's been cool having done Founder Catalyst. And my company was also in the AWS Impact Accelerator for Women Founders. There are a couple women from that accelerator who also recently got into Techstars program. So I feel like I have this network of women we've done other sort of earlier stage accelerators together. Now we've all made it to Techstars together. And it's really cool to be there for each other, to be able to compare notes, share resources. That's been a really cool thing. I ran into some people at FounderCon who I knew from other accelerators or other opportunities I've done. It's cool to feel like you've got your program network, but you've also got this broader network of people who are also doing really cool things.
It truly is a global network.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. There were people, I mean, FounderCon was amazing. I don't know if you were able to go. We met so many cool people, had so many great conversations that just came out of randomly sitting down for lunch with someone, and everybody was super open and willing to help. That was great.
FounderCon was awesome. I had a great time
Hmm.
and met a lot of awesome founders.
Definitely.
What would you say to a founder that is on the fence about applying to Techstars and convince them to?
Oh, good question. Okay, I think I would say first off, just apply for the experience of applying because even if you don't get in, you'll get experience pitching to people who see 1,000 pitches, and you'll get tough questions, and it's really good experience for talking to customers, talking to investors, just being able to defend your company against questions, to sell it to people. I think it's a great experience just going through that process. But, obviously, if you get in, it truly does accelerate you. It opens so many doors. I mean, I think that's the way I would put it, is it can feel like as an entrepreneur that there's just, you hear about these big deals happening, you hear about these companies taking off, and it feels like if you're not in a couple of different cities where things are maybe more accessible or just more ubiquitous, it can feel like, how do you make it in? How do you break into this? And once you're in Techstars, it feels like these doors open for you and you have access to these people who've themselves built unicorn companies and are now just spending their time helping founders, or the MDs, the program managers, the people who spend so much time making sure that you've got everything in place that you need to get to demo day, to fundraise. They'll introduce you to anyone you ask for. I remember that was when I was thinking about applying, I talked to one of the mentors at Founder Catalyst about it who had done Techstars. And I asked her, what's the value? What do you think you get out of it? She said, they will introduce you to anyone. Like if you say, hey, I want to meet an elephant trainer, like the next day you'll have an intro to an elephant trainer. And I thought that was that just stuck with me. And I think it's totally true. I mean, there have been so many random things I've asked for and they found a way to make the intro. It's been awesome.
Techstars is for life, really. Like so many people say that, but everyone that I speak to that has once been involved in a program, been a mentor, been on the board, like literally anything. I'm trying to think of as many different aspects of the company because there's just so many different stakeholders. But truly, everyone is dedicated. They're dedicated for life, and they have that give first mentality, which is so ingrained in the mantra of Techstars and its programs and its products, which is, give with the intention of giving. Everyone just wants to give. Everyone wants to help everyone. So it's pretty amazing. I do want to briefly, before we wrap up, touch on capital.
We're not quite fundraising yet, but we'll be opening our round soon. We just launched our product and we're looking to get a little more early traction under our belts before we open the round. Demo day is February 9th. So I think we're hoping by then we'll be in a good position shortly after then to open the round. And, fundraising is something I tried to do back when I was a solo founder and really only had an idea. And I was too early to fundraise at that time, which was something that I learned through Founder Catalyst, how important it is to time your raise and to get all of the pieces in place so that you can bring on smart money, not just any money. So I really feel like learning the strategy about fundraising through Techstars has been really helpful and has got us to a good position where I think we're interested in taking on money so that we can move quickly with the product. Because like you said, AI is really taking off and it's important to be able to move fast. We can do it, the three of us. We're a very well-rounded team, but of course, money would help us move that much faster. So we're just sort of waiting for the right moment to open the round now, but feel like we're going into it with great backing and much more of a strategy and with much more thoughtfulness, thanks to Techstars.
That's great to hear. I wish you the best of luck in terms of your fundraising. And yeah, I've checked out Stan, your website, your product a little bit. It seems really cool. It seems super helpful. I've worked with a couple legal startups at Techstars thus far, and I think everyone that's sort of in that atmosphere of legal tech and enablement is in the right place because it is an outdated industry, and there's a lot of things that need fixing. So I look forward to see the progress of Stand. And I did want to quickly call out, I absolutely loved your references to Better Call Saul in your email chains on the website. I'm such a that's one of my favorite shows. I was like, those names look so familiar. Kim Wexler, McGill, Hamlin, like I know where that's from, but yeah, that's pretty genius marketing. I love it.
I'm glad to hear that. I love that show, and Kim Wexler is the best representation of a lawyer ever in the history of television.
Well, it's been great chatting with you, Julie. I'm super excited to see the future of Stand. And yeah, good luck at Demo Day. That's huge. That's coming up so soon.
Yep. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's been such a pleasure chatting with you. And thanks for checking out Stand. That's awesome.
Definitely. I'll recommend it to anyone that I think might need help with their legal AI abilities.
Hey, please do. Or if they just want to ask our SCOTUS AI some questions, like feel free to pass it around.
Sounds great. All right. Have a good one, Julie.
Thanks, you too.